Welcome everyone to the first session of the Telegraph Beauty School Series 2, your complete skincare toolkit. My name is Annabel Jones and I'm the beauty editor at large at the Telegraph. Tonight's masterclass is all you need to know about cleansing and exfoliating. And so over the next hour, I'll be speaking to skin expert and KPM Skin founder, Katharine Mackenzie Paterson, as she reveals all about the art of achieving naturally glowy skin. So let's get started. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, our pleasure. So we're going to start with cleansing.
Yeah.
Why is cleansing so important to our skin?
So cleansing, I think, is really actually the foundation of a good skincare routine. So quite frequently I've had clients in the past that you'll kind of get them on the bed, you'll start talking to them about their skincare routine, what they're using, what they'll do. And they're really more than happy to spend hundreds of pounds on serums and face creams. But then when you talk to them about how are you washing your skin at night, how are you taking all of your makeup and the pollution off your skin, and people say, sometimes I just use a cleansing wipe, or I don't really use anything at all. Which kind of alarms me because, you know, you're following up with all of these expensive products. Where are they going?
Yeah.
How are they getting into your skin if you haven't kind of really cleansed your pores? So it's always super important, I think, to just get your foundation right, cleanse, make sure that you're working on a really clean canvas. And also, when you're actually doing your cleanse, you're helping to really stimulate your blood flow. And especially of an evening when your skin is doing all of its repair processes, that's when, increased blood flow is going to be really good for that, because that's going to help to bring oxygenated blood to the surface of your skin. It's going to help to produce, collagen and elastin, and these are all really important to keep our skin plump and robust.
Yeah. And so it's not just about removing the dirt and the pollutants and the makeup. I think I always find that the missing link that people don't understand is that to get those serums past, if you have makeup and residue and oils on your skin, then the ingredients in those serums can't effectively penetrate as well. So like you said earlier, that will hinder the performance of whatever you put on next, whether it's a vitamin C or a retinol or whatever. Okay, so in terms of skin types, is it important to choose a cleanser based on your skin type or your preference for a cream versus an oil?
So I appreciate that cleansers can be such a minefield because there are so many and there are so many different types. So I've brought quite a few along, just some of my favourites that I think work. You know, that we've got some different price points, different skin types, and, different skin issues. So generally, I think in terms of using oils and balms, personally, if you're super dry or if you double cleanse, which I'm quite pro double cleansing of the night time, I think that they're a really good point to start off with. I then also think that cleansing milks and foaming cleansers, I think, are a bit of a personal preference. So I think some people really like to just use a milk, remove with cotton pads or remove with a damp flannel. I personally really like to feel water on my face. I just don't feel like my skin's properly clean if I don't. So I'll always opt for a foaming cleanser. But essentially, I just think it's finding, what works for you and maybe slightly altering the ingredients and maybe your preferred texture to best suit your skin.
Yeah. So I tend to do both. So I use an oil or a cream or a balm to take my makeup off and to have that moment of self-care where I'm sort of doing the massage and all of that. And then I will use a foaming cleansing wash perhaps in the shower or afterwards just to make sure.
So that's exactly what I do. I like to, at night time, either use a balm or an oil, and then I'll take that, almost compress that off actually with a warm flannel, and then I'll go into using some foaming cleanser, lather it up in my hands, massage that into my skin, and then I'll splash that off with cold water and then just dab dry again with a flannel or a towel, or a hand towel.
Okay, so do you want to go through some of the cleansers that you...
So just starting off with oils and balms. So the first one that I brought along is the Medicate Lipid Balance Cleansing Oil. So what I really like about this is you can pop on a little bit of oil, and then this one actually lathers to a bit of a milk. So for people that find that they don't like any residue left on their skin, I just don't find that you ever get this. So really, one pump is all you need, and then you would just massage it into your skin. Now, the thing about a cleansing oil or balm is that an oil can cut through oil.
Yes.
But if you pop something that's water-based, you can't quite get through oil after. So it's like if you have a glass of water and you put, you know, some squash into it, it will dilute. Whereas if you put some oil, it will sit on the surface.
Yeah.
So that's why I think using something that's got some oil in it, an oil or a balm, or like you said, a cleansing milk, is really important to use to really break down pollution, because that's quite a sticky molecule. And then also makeup, because a lot of the makeup that we tend to wear has got some sort of oil in it.
Yeah.
So you just pop this on, get some warm water, and then I don't know if you can see, but that's emulsifying into a milk.
Yeah.
And then that just means that you're just not left with any kind of residue, and then you can pop that off. This one has got essential oils of geranium in, which I think is a really, really nice kind of balancing.
Especially for night.
Yeah, for sure. Really balancing, calming kind of essential oil. Then this is another one that I've really liked at the moment. So this is by a skincare line called Then I Met You, and this is called the Living Cleansing Balm. So this is this really kind of unctuous, solid pot of balms. So again, probably that's the sort of amount that you need. And again, you can really massage that into your skin. So this has got vitamin E in it. It's got sea buckthorn, which is really antioxidizing. It's got, I don't know if you can smell, it smells quite zesty. It's got persimmon in it. So again, this one's a bit more of an oil texture. So you can kind of emulsify this as well. But this is really nice if you then just want to pop a flannel onto your face.
So this one, correct me if I'm wrong, but say something like this balm here, which feels really nourishing and could be good for menopausal skin or particularly dry skin, because I know that's one of the questions we get asked a lot is, what cleanser can I use for mature skin or dry skin? So something like that would be a little bit more moisturising than, say, the oil.
So when you tend to hit your perimenopause or your menopause, you can tend to drop the amount of hydration in your skin, and that's because you're not tending to produce as much collagen. You also might have a bit of a lack of production of fatty acids, cholesterol and ceramides. So they're the three components that are really essential to have in a healthy skin barrier. So a healthy skin barrier will sort of have like a 1-to-1-to-1 ratio of ceramides, fatty acids and cholesterols. So what a cleansing oil or a balm will be really good for doing is really helping to kind of replace all the fats and lipids in the skin. If you've also got a very tight skin that tends to feel quite itchy in the day, these are really good to use. And listen, for people that have got more of a combination skin or do wear a lot of makeup, these are great for your pre or for your first cleanse. Again, if you have got a super dry skin, just use one of these. You're not going to then want to obviously potentially use a foaming cleanser, which might be a little bit more drying, or you can use a cream cleanser after.
Also depending on the season, because sometimes in winter with the central heating and so on, you just use that, and in the summer, sometimes you feel like you need something a little bit more clarifying.
And that's kind of why I went in also with the different textures, because obviously you can see this one's a lot lighter than this one, which is a solid.
Yeah. So, Katharine, I noticed you have flannels here.
Yes.
So there's so many different ways to cleanse.
Yes.
And the muslin cloth was really popular for a while. And obviously we have the good old-fashioned flannel, which is what I tend to use these days. What is the best what is the best method of removing your cleanser?
Again, there's no kind of right or wrong with it. I personally prefer a flannel to a muslin cloth because I just felt that these were a little bit thicker and also sometimes softer to use as well.
Not as scratchy.
No, and also from a price point of view, you can pick up sort of 5 or 6 flannels for, you know, a couple of quid each, whereas some people can, you know, muslin cloths can be quite expensive as well. So these ones are just from Marks.
Yeah.
And I quite liked these. I just bought them really for demonstration, but these had a slightly different texture to them. So I just felt like you've got a slightly rougher texture here, which you can kind of, you know, use on maybe the areas that need a little bit of exfoliation.
Yeah.
Because also the thing is as well is that obviously when you're removing your cleanser too, you're giving yourself a little bit of manual exfoliation by using something that has, you know, some sort of abrasion to it, even though these are incredibly gentle. So for somebody that did have almost a very dry, very sensitive, very irritated skin, and I wouldn't be that inclined to kind of recommend an exfoliant for them to use. I'd just maybe say use something that you'll gently be kind of exfoliating with that until we get your skin barrier a bit more stable, and then we can kind of move into something.
And I use warm water or quite hot, warm-ish to hot water. Is there a temperature that you should use? It should be a wet flannel.
I think it's always quite nice to remove, you know, like an oil or a balm with a slightly warm.
Yeah, you get a bit of steam as well.
Yeah, I think there's, and also that feels quite nice on your skin, and especially when you're doing your evening cleanse, there's something quite ritualistic about that. I wouldn't go in, you know, don't put a boiling hot flannel on your face. It's just going to be too much for your delicate cheek area, especially if you've got quite a thin, delicate skin. You're going to get too much vasodilation, which is where the blood kind of shoots to the surface in the tiny capillaries, and you don't want to, if you continually do that, you might end up sort of bursting your capillaries and get permanent
broken
redness.
veins.
I also think that, you know, if you know, washing your face, so it's then quite nice after to maybe splash a bit of cold water, especially in the morning, kind of wakes you up, kind of constricts everything in your skin. You know, cold is quite a nice natural kind of tightener. So if you do tend to wake up with a bit more of a puffy face, or your lymph is maybe a little bit sluggish, that kind of, you know, the cold temperature helps to get everything going.
Okay.
The other kind of thing that I brought along, which you can use for cleansing, is obviously moving into kind of how can we be sustainable with beauty. These disposable, they're not disposable, sorry, washable. That's the word I'm looking for. Cotton pads can just be chucked in the washing machine. These ones, again, they're from Marks and Spencer's. You get 5 and they come in a little bag. I think you can actually put these in the bag to wash them and it will actually protect them a little bit in the washing machine. What I also liked about these is they've got a little pouch in the back.
To put your fingers in.
So you can pop your, because what I found with some of the other reusable cotton rounds is that they're
a bit. Some of them are a bit thin, aren't they? Because actually, I've stopped using cotton buds and cotton pads, obviously for sustainability reasons. And I've done my fair share of testing of these as well. And those are the ones with the pouch, the thicker ones, are so much easier to use.
Yeah. So I just thought, and also again for me, I tried some, you know, the other week. And they were really, really quite silky. And I just didn't feel like they removed anything. Whereas these have got a little bit of texture to them, a little bit of a little bit of a thread. So I just kind of thought those from a texture point of view. So again, it's up to you how you use these. You can either use 2 at the same time, pop them on your fingers, run them under the tap, and kind of you can use them around the eye area. You can be very gentle and use them over the eye area. You know, you can use them going up on the neck, sweep out sort of over the cheeks and on the chin area. And I think these were a really good set that I saw. So I'm kind of reusable cotton rounds and
good old M&S.
And
Okay, so moving on to foaming cleansers or gel cleansers. I'm keen to know your favourites here.
So, foaming cleansers, I think a lot of people feel, or what I get a lot of people saying to me in salon, is that they almost feel a bit apprehensive about using a foaming cleanser because they don't like their skin to feel super tight after.
Yes.
A lot of people feel very averse to kind of having, you know, their skin feeling really parched. What I really like about these is that these are pH balanced.
Yeah.
So they've got the kind of correct pH for your skin, so they shouldn't ever make you feel dry. I suppose quite a few years ago when I was learning kind of, you know, what I know now, everything about beauty, we were always sort of told that really you need a cleanser to kind of make your skin quite alkaline to do its job to cleanse, which now I think that technology is so advanced into how we make products that's not necessarily the case. And I think that also quite a lot of people don't know that our skin sits at a slightly acidic pH of about 5.5.
Yeah.
Whereas I think a lot of people think it needs to be neutral. So actually you need to keep it slightly acidic. And when you're cleansing, what is quite important for you to do before you apply your serums and your moisturisers after is just to make sure that you do have the right pH for them to work as effectively as they need to work. So I think looking out for a pH balance cleanser or using a toner after. So this is an Is Clinical one. It's called Cleansing Complex. Doesn't really smell of anything. It feels quite water-based. A little bit goes a really, really long way. I also bought this, I mean, that's really all you need.
Yeah.
I also bought this because a lot of men like this cleanser as well.
Because it doesn't smell perfumed.
Doesn't smell perfumed, it's very light. I've, you know, got some men that tend to use this straight after shaving, never makes them feel irritated. So that's really, really good all-rounder. I think it's really effective at removing makeup as well, just a remnant. It never stings my eyes, so I really, really like that cleanser.
Yeah, because I was just going back to your earlier point, because I think that's, you know, you mentioned the skin barrier earlier. So with regards to sort of gentle foaming or gel cleansers, we want to feel sort of clean, but we don't want to strip the barrier either. And so in terms of sulfate, choosing one that's sulfate-free, is that important?
Personally, I tend to go for sulfate-free cleansers. These ones are both sulfate-free. There's no sort of laureth sulfate in there. You can get some natural kind of laurel, which a lot of the time they tend to be kind of derived from coconut. I think sometimes the sulfates are what makes your skin feel quite tight after using them. They're quite drying. So yeah, these are both sodium laureth sulfate free.
Okay.
The other one that I wanted to include, so this is by an American brand called Epion's, and I use this at KMP Skin. It's really, really, I mean, there's just something for everybody with it. What I love about the purifying wash is that it has, you can use this on a slightly unbalanced skin, so slightly more acne prone skin.
Yeah.
But what a lot of cleansers tend to do that are for acne prone skin is they tend to strip a lot of oil out of your skin. And I think that's because we're sort of still in the throes of kind of having, oh, if you've got acne, surely you must have a super oily skin, which is not actually true.
Yeah.
So this one has got a spearmint extract to it, and what spearmint's really good at doing is it's got the ability to really calm the inflammation down in a spot. There's also a touch of salicylic acid in this one as well. There's about 0.6%. So salicylic acid is a BHA, a beta hydroxy acid. And a BHA with salicylic acid, it's got the ability to kind of unclog the pore, dissolve oil. So it's really, really good for if you've got a lot of blocked pores. It will really, really help to kind of normalise the oil production in the skin. So this one is just a really good all-rounder for anybody that's got a slightly unbalanced skin, but you don't want to over dry it as well. I've also recommended that to people that have got acne rosacea, and it doesn't aggravate that at all.
So good for any inflammation.
And this one actually comes in such a big tube as well, because it's designed for use on the body.
Oh,
so
right.
if
So
you
back
suffer,
knee and chest
if
and
with chest and back acne as well, this is why it comes in such a big tube. So you just, again, need a little bit of that, and it's got really, really nice invigorating smell.
Minty.
Spearmint, yeah. And that gives you a very, very gentle kind of
Can you order it online from the US, or is there a UK?
No, so there's a UK website, epionce.co.uk, and you can get that from selected clinics and salons that use Epionce.
Okay. I'm just looking to see if there's any questions here that we can answer as we go. Should I cleanse at night or first thing in the morning?
You should do both.
Yeah.
Definitely cleanse at night time, because like we've sort of said, that's when you're going to be removing any makeup if you're wearing any.
Yeah.
But also, if you don't wear makeup, that's when you're going to be really getting rid of all of the pollution molecules on your skin. And as I said, you know, pollution is quite a sticky molecule, so it kind of gets on your skin and it's quite hard to remove. I don't think you have to double cleanse in the morning, because theoretically you should only really be removing any products that you've used at night time. So that's when, you know, you can either just use something really gentle, one step. You can use a foaming cleanser in the shower, or just a little bit of cleansing milk, splash your face.
Yeah, okay. Moving on to milks.
Milks, yes. So cleansing milks are almost, you know, they're quite good for people that travel a lot on the fly. You know, you can remove them with a cotton pad, with a damp cotton pad, if you want. You can also splash them off with water as well. I think a lot of people think that cleansing milks can only be removed with cotton pads, and I don't think that's the case. I quite frequently would splash them off with water. So this one is one by CeraVe.
Yeah.
So CeraVe is a really, really great high street brand. This is $9.50, and CeraVe products have all got a ceramide complex in them, hence the name. So that's you know, one of the really important things, which, as we've just discussed, makes up a healthy skin barrier. So this is making sure that you've almost got all of your building blocks back into your skin. This one's great for somebody that doesn't want to spend a lot on a cleanser. It's fragrance free. It's got hyaluronic acid in it as well, so you'll get a bit of topical hydration. And then this one is by Decléor. Comes in a really big pump, and I just love this because it feels quite light.
Yeah.
And it also smells delicious too. And I think that we've become kind of quite involved in kind of saying, you know, everything's got to kind of not have a smell or feel very clinical for it to work, which actually isn't the case. And Decléor, all of the products are enriched, or, you know, they feature some essential oils because it's an aromatherapy based skincare line. So this one is just, it's very gently but naturally fragranced. There's some Neroli essential oil, which is actually a very balancing essential oil. And you can also remove, I would say, gentle eye makeup with this. I don't think it would kind of cut into super waterproof.
And so on.
Yeah. So again, with your cream cleansers, all you need is about a pump to 2 pumps. And again, you can see this one's more of a gel. You can just really focus on rubbing it into your hands. They feel quite nice and cold. Popping it all over your face, giving it a really good massage, breaking everything down.
Yeah, I use a cream cleanser alternately with an oil-based cleanser, so I tend to take it off the same way as I do with the oil with a warm flannel, and use it to massage and so on. So, but I tend to agree with you with the gentle fragrance. Sometimes it's like it has that bit of a aromacology feel. It just lifts your mood, and as long as you're not sensitive to essential oils and so on, it can be a nice sort of nighttime self-care treat.
Well, I've worked with Decléor for years, and I've had people that have got a sensitive skin use this, and they've felt fine. And as you said, everything with the products does provoke a sense of aromacology.
Yes.
So you've got certain fragrances in there to evoke a certain feeling, and obviously fragrance and mind are so linked.
Yeah.
And certain essential oils can obviously, they're renowned for making you feel a certain way, like, you know, Neroli's a real natural kind of antidepressant. As we spoke in the cleansing oil, geranium is a very, very balancing, quite calming essential oil. So I think, you know, there's even something about, I've been using this for so long, like the smell is nostalgic for me.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Okay, so moving on to toners. Yeah, so we were saying earlier that I feel like there's still a bit of confusion about what is a toner and do I need a toner?
Yep.
And now, of course, we have essences, which are a version of a toner, and exfoliating toners. So what is a toner?
A toner, essentially, back in the day, was a product that you would use all over your skin. And there were some really weird marketing messages around toners. So you were told to use a toner because it closed your pores.
Yeah.
So pores aren't doors, they don't open, they don't close. You were also told, you know, that popping lots of alcohol on your skin would be a great thing to remove all of the oil. We're probably, I'm not saying that all alcohols are bad in skincare at all, but some of them can be quite drying. So I think that toners have become very misunderstood and have received also quite a bad rap. And I think that quite a lot of people are very confused about what they do and where we should be using them. So I think, again, technology has evolved. What's really good about toners now is essentially you would use a toner to restore the pH balance of your skin. That's what your primary focus of a toner is. However, like we were just saying about with some of the foaming cleansers, if your cleanser is pH balanced, you don't necessarily have to tone. But what toners can offer you now are very, very gentle treatments and also mild exfoliation, which can be done on a daily basis. So I kind of will collectively sort of group these two together. So these are by, again, another American-based brand, but you can get it in England, Exfoliating Professional. So you can only find these in selected clinics or salons that stock exfoliants, but they are sort of renowned for their use of PHAs, which stands for a polyhydroxy acid, and also the founders of exfoliants and Neostrata, they invented glycolic acid.
Okay.
So a PHA it's the most gentle of an exfoliating acid. So it's got the ability to be used even on a very sensitive skin, but it's also a humectant, which means that it will attract moisture into your skin. So if you're somebody that's suffering with quite a dry skin, you're maybe getting some flakiness around your skin, a PHA will be a really, really gentle way to kind of get started into using something on a daily basis that's an exfoliating toner. What I also think is really good about PHAs is they're very, very glow giving. So they're perfect for this time
which
of
is
the
what
year. 'Cause
everybody wants.
We're all feeling a little bit dull
Yeah.
with the weather change. So I think PHAs are a really, really kind of good starting point. They'll never leave your skin feeling too compromised. And then the difference between these two is you've got the soothing toning lotion, which is for more of a dry or sensitive skin. So you've got your PHA complex in there, and then you've also got some other ingredients which will really help to kind of hydrate. There's some cucumber extract in there. And then this one, the Moisture Balance Toner, this is for slightly more of a normal to oily combination skin. So this has got some AHAs, which stands for alpha hydroxy acid. So a lot of AHAs tend to be organically sourced. Quite a lot of them come from fruit. So you've got a combination of acids there. So they're almost working in conjunction with each other. So you'll have the PHA, which is sort of attracting some moisture in there. There's a tiny bit of glycolic acid in this one, which will really help to brighten your skin. Glycolic acid is great for pigmentation, but this is also slightly normalising the skin. So it's helping to draw out any excess oil. It will help to kind of heal any sort of blemishes.
Okay. And the Medicate?
The Medicate one I sort of bought in because I think this is a really nice one for anybody that's got quite an oily skin. But you know when sometimes you can have quite an oily skin, your pores are quite visible, but you can end up looking quite sallow?
Yes.
This I think is a really, really good one to use for skins like that. So this has got some mandelic acid in it.
Yeah.
So mandelic acid is it's an AHA, but it's actually quite a large molecule. So it means that when you're popping that onto your skin, it's quite slow to penetrate in because the molecules are so big.
Yes.
So each sort of acid that we're talking about, they've all got kind of different sizes. Mandelic acid can be used on sensitive skin, but as well, so it's really good for that. But I think that this one is also a really good one as well. If you particularly break out in a specific area, so maybe around your chin, if you're a little bit hormonal, you can just pop this on with sort of a cotton pad and just really kind of work it into your skin, and that will just really, really help to kind of dry out and also control any oil as well. Quite varied application with this too. So I might say to some clients to just use it at night time, for some clients to use it in the morning, for some clients to just even use it maybe once or twice a week. The Exfoliating ones you can kind of use every day.
Daily.
And you can use morning and night as well.
Okay. So these are all exfoliating
These
toners.
are all exfoliating toners. So they're going to be just aiding any kind of extra desquamation of loose skin cells at the surface to just help to really smooth out your skin. They'll help to improve texture and they'll essentially leave you quite sort of glowing and even skin toned.
And a little bit every day or every other day rather than a more potent exfoliator that you might do once a week or once a month.
Yeah, so these are all designed with enough sort of acid in them to give you a cellular turnover, but nothing that's too harsh or abrasive. They won't break down your skin barrier.
Yeah, because when you say acids, I think sometimes people do
It
get
sounds
worried.
really scary. And I think that everybody, even now, has still got this kind of vision of Sex and the City when Samantha had her chemical peel and she kind of walks in, she's got this bright red face and then she, can't go out in public for ages. So again, I always sort of say to clients, acids sound really scary, but when I kind of explain to them what they do and literally that they're called acids because they're sort of acidic on a pH level, that it kind of like, oh right, that it's taking the kind of the unknown out of something for somebody. And once you explain and educate somebody about something, it's not as scary anymore.
So it's interesting that we're sort of bundling exfoliating in with cleansing.
Yeah.
Because it is part of the preparation of the skin.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got your AHAs, your PHAs, you mentioned BHAs earlier,
Yeah.
which is your salicylic acids for...
Pretty much salicylic is the only BHA. And then you've got, obviously your AHAs, you're talking about anything from lactic acid, which generally is a milk derived. That's also quite moisture attracting, quite good for a sensitive skin. Mandelic acid, which we've covered. Glycolic acid, which comes from sugarcane. The glycolic acid has quite a small molecule, so it can feel quite punchy because it kind of gets in there quite quickly. But glycolic acid is, I think it's very good for pigmented skin.
Okay.
But also, I think on a sort of a more regular use for somebody that has also got maybe a slightly thicker, sort of stronger, more resilient skin as well. I mean, again, it all depends what concentration and what pH actually you're working at with skincare acids.
Yeah, because these are not peels or masks. These are toners with a small amount of acids to sort of gently exfoliate the skin on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Okay, and did you have one more exfoliator?
Yeah, so I kind of just to finish off about with products to then sort of move into exfoliating.
Yes.
So, I mean, I'm sure that we could spend probably a whole hour just talking about exfoliating, but the ones that I sort of bought are, they're kind of, I thought they'll fit in with cleansing because they're almost ones that, you know, they're quite simple to use or you'll use them at cleansing. So, the first one is the Decléor, the Green Mandarin Biphase Peel. So this is actually a 30-day or a 28-day a month program. So I'm not sure if you can see that on the camera, but you've got your dual phase here.
Yes.
So you have got some essential oils in here as well. So in the Green Mandarin range, you've got your sweet orange, your mandarin, your grapefruit. And then this is just a very small percentage of glycolic acid at 3.5. So what you would do with this is after cleansing your skin, and also I would say of a night time. So I think when you're using more of a stronger exfoliator, not talking about the kind of toners that we were talking about, I always think it's good to use them at night time. So one, you're then giving your skin a really clean surface to kind of work on repairing itself overnight. But two, you've also giving it some time to just recover before you sort of go out into the direct sunlight. So that's, I mean, you don't have to necessarily do that. And I think that we're all a lot better at putting on SPF on a daily basis now than we used to. But I just always prefer to use exfoliators at night time. So with this one, you would just cleanse your skin and then give this a bit of a shake. And then you've got your pipette, which you just really want about 4 to 5 drops of this. And then you can actually
see the oil and
So this one's really, really gentle. So you can just rub that into your hands and then you can just pop that, and it smells really uplifting, citrusy. So that is sort of your continued use one, to give yourself a bit of a kickstart. So actually using something like that at this time of year, going into the season change, this is my biggest kind of complaint at the moment with clients, is that everyone's just feeling a little bit dull, a little bit lacklustre. Everyone's sort of starting to break out again a little bit because with the heatings going on, the temperatures going down outside. So that's kind of like a bit more of a program. And then this one is by Is Clinical again, the same as the cleansing complex. So this is the Tri-Active Exfoliating Mask. So this is something that you can use once a week, potentially twice a week. And what I quite like about this is you've almost got a mix of exfoliations. So there are actually sort of different types of exfoliation. So you've got manual and physical exfoliation, chemical exfoliation. So you've got some AHAs in this, and then you've got extract of sweet orange, Brazilian sweet orange. I don't know why the lid's not coming off. But you've also got a bead in here as well. So for people that do like to feel a grain on their skin, you can just pop a little bit of this on. And grains in this, they're perfectly safe for the ocean. They're actually,
I was going to say, because
down.
Plastic beads or what was being used before.
So these are biocellulose, so these just break down. And it's incredibly gentle. As you pop it on, you get quite a warming action, which is the sort of enzymatic activity. And then you'd actually leave that on for about 10 minutes. So as you're leaving it on, you're getting the nibbling away of all the loose skin cells. But then as you're actually massaging it into your skin, you're getting a bit of physical exfoliation. You're aging kind of with the beads.
So in terms of exfoliating, this more intentional exfoliating, does everybody have to exfoliate, and should we exfoliate all the time, or is it something we should do when our skin looks a certain way or feels a certain way, or should it just be part of our cleansing, toning routine?
Again, I think it's almost slightly down to personal preference. So, I mean, what we've got to remember is our skin actually does a lot of amazing things itself. So our skin naturally exfoliates. We go through a natural skin cycle of about 28 days. So your skin is doing some natural exfoliating. Again, if you've got a very, very healthy, robust skin barrier, your skin's probably doing all of that quite well. When you've got a slightly impeded skin barrier for whatever reason, you know, you're slightly drier, or you're producing a little bit too much oil and you're getting breakouts, you might just need to kind of aid the exfoliation process there. I think also quite a big misconception as well with skin types and exfoliation is that a lot of people feel that if you've got a very dry skin, you shouldn't exfoliate at all. And if you've got an oily skin, you should be exfoliating all the time. And actually, it's quite the contrary. So if you've got a dry skin, you probably want to be helping to eliminate the dead skin a little bit faster. And if you've got an oily skin, you don't want to over exfoliate it because your skin's already feeling quite confused. So the more you strip the oil out of it, and your skin's going to want to produce more and more. So I would just say once, maybe twice a week for an oilier skin. And again, depending on what you're using, and as long as it's nothing that's too abrasive on the skin as well, you can use something maybe 4 or 5 times a week. You know, if you've got quite a dry skin that needs exfoliation, you can use something every day in the exfoliating toners.
Yeah, so when it comes to the sort of grainy manual exfoliators, there has been some, I don't want to say controversy is a little bit strong a word, but with certain grainy substances such as walnut extract and things that can scratch or damage the skin barrier. So what's the truth with grainy exfoliators?
I actually think it's almost more kind of getting doing research like from product to product. So I tend to be a bit dubious with granulated exfoliators because I do feel that some of them can be quite harsh. However, for example, with something like this, I know that the beads are man-made, so they're actually very smooth and spherical, and they're not going to cause excessive damage to the skin barrier. I also know that, again, like we've just said, this is made out of a bead that will dissolve. Although, as far as I'm aware, I don't think now that we can sell any exfoliators that have got ocean harming chemicals in them with the exfoliating grain.
Okay.
So I think it's, again, I think that if you're using a natural fruit sauce, as long as it's not really big and very rough when you're using it, potentially they can be okay. I think it's more sort of looking at the
and not
formulation.
overdoing it.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you put something on your hand, like that feels quite gentle when you pop it on your hand, whereas some of them you can pop them on and, you know, you're really, really getting quite a scratch with it, you know.
And so definitely with age as well, because you mentioned a compromised skin barrier or a sort of slower cell turnover, and just a plain old aging is going to slow that process down a little bit. So sometimes exfoliating can help give you a sort of brighter, glowier complexion. And sometimes also just using the flannel and the manual is enough for some people. Okay. So let's see if we've got any questions we can answer. Do you have a product that works for hyperpigmentation? This is a question we get asked a lot, actually.
For cleansing?
Well, it mentions a product, so perhaps just any recommendation if there's something great.
So there probably aren't really an awful lot of cleansers that are going to do an awful lot for hyperpigmentation because it's not on your skin for long. There are some exfoliation toners that can help with pigmentation. So again, glycolic acid is quite a good acid that can focus on that. Really good products for pigmentation I like. I mean, there's going to be nothing that can help to prevent against further hyperpigmentation than SPF. So SPF is just absolutely key. You should be wearing it every day. I would wear a 50 on the face. Keeping a cap on, keeping yourself out of the sun. I think that using products for hyperpigmentation, you've got to be in it for the long game. Nothing's going to work overnight. I think that with clients that I've seen and put on pigmentation programs, they're using products for at least 3 months before you start to see results. And also what I say to clients as well is, you know, you can spend an awful lot on going for treatments for pigmentation and then also using products at home for pigmentation. But the minute you kind of go out into the sun, if you sunbathe, it's going to all come back really, really quickly. I think Medicate have got a new peptide serum, which really, really helps with pigmentation. Is clinical, have a line called White Lightning or Brightening serum and brightening cream, which really helps. And again, Epion's do a very good line called Melanolite. So there's a serum which you can use at night time, and then there's also a daytime product. And what's quite good about that one is it keeps your kind of inflammatory receptors in your skin quite low. Yeah, and you made a good point there about SPF, because we didn't mention that earlier. So all the cleansing and exfoliating and all of that should be followed up with your skincare routine the next morning and an SPF. You'd cleanse your skin, you would tone, you would pop on a serum if you're using a serum. If again you want to put on moisturiser, sometimes I wouldn't use moisturiser in the day if I'm using an SPF as well. I'd just use a serum, but then your SPF is always last thing as you're walking, you know, last thing that goes onto your skin. And then just give it a few minutes to soak in. I also think amount of application with the SPF, so you can kind of go for the 2-finger rule, so pop some SPF on one finger, second finger, that's really how much you should be getting on from sort of here to your decolletage. Yeah, not missing out your neck and and actually going back to cleansing, cleansing your neck as well, your neck and chest is important. I think sometimes people forget. They sort of do everything from here up. Yeah, definitely the neck. Yeah. I mean, of course, if you're suffering with any kind of pigmentation or, again, maybe a little bit of chest acne, take a product down onto the décolleté. But then also, I do think as well, if you tend not to be suffering too much in that area, whatever potentially you might be using in your body in the shower might be okay. Again, though, neck and décolleté to take exfoliating toners onto,
Right.
because this always tends to be the first area that tends to kind of age, and your skin can get quite thin there and it can go quite crepey. So starting off by using an exfoliating toner is a really, really good way to kind of really aid with cellular renewal, aid with desquamation of skin cells, and really, really helps kind of get that area kind of, you know, the cellular turnover happening there.
Yeah. Okay. Will micellar water as a toner after cleansing with an oilier product, can it change pH back to 5.5? Not sure what she means, but micellar water.
Will micellar water act as a toner after cleansing with an oil? No. Okay, right, yeah. Micellar water is not a toner. Micellar...
Because we didn't actually mention micellar
No, we
waters.
didn't actually mention micellar waters, which we should have, maybe. Micellar, it's almost got the technology to kind of really pull away kind of certain zebra. Again, if you are really, really in a rush, or perhaps you are going to the gym and you just want something to really quickly take away any kind of post-gymness from your skin before going into work and popping, you know, sort of moisturiser and serums and SPF on, a good kind of micellar water should be kind of pH balanced, but it won't sort of act as a toner unless it's a bit of an all-in-one. I personally would... I'm not a big fan of like a 3-in-1 kind of cleanser, like a cleanser and toner. I think that they're quite different products.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's the Bioderma micellar water, which is the famous one.
Yeah.
I do sometimes use the micellar water as a makeup remover.
Yeah.
So I will sometimes do that as a gentle way, because it has little oil droplets in it, and I will take off, say, my eye makeup and you know, surface makeup, and then move into my cleansing routine. Yeah. But certainly I know a lot of people do tend to sometimes use just a micellar water to cleanse. So what is your thoughts on that?
I mean, Bioderma is great. The traditional one with the red kind of lid. Yeah. I mean, I use that. I mean, it removes makeup really, really well. I'm actually like you. I tend to use that as actually an eye makeup remover, and then I'll maybe kind of sweep it over my lips as well. Maybe just take the rest over the rest of my face. I'd maybe do that if I haven't really got access to a sink and water. That can act as a really good pre-cleanse. If you are literally, you have no access to water, or you know, you're at a festival, or you're camping, or you're in the desert for some reason, that could be a really, really good product but then how I would use it is I probably do a bit of a pre-cleanse with it and then an extra cleanse with it as well. I'm probably a bit more like you. I would use it as another alternative, as a quick pre-cleanse. Yes. And then I would probably wash my face after.
Yeah, because anything with oil droplets as well, if you're not washing your face afterward, some residue of oil is going to be left on the skin, so it is going to potentially impede what you do next with your skincare.
They're obviously so clever though, because they never feel. A lot of them, I mean, some of them are biphase and you'll shake them to use them, but they're very, very light and they don't really tend to leave an oily residue on your skin.
No.
Leave your skin quite
and
comfortable.
they are a fresh, nice way to take off makeup. Yeah. As opposed to some of the heavier makeup removers, that especially waterproof eye makeup removers. Definitely. And so on. Okay, what else have we got here? Effective but low-priced products, please. So you've mentioned the CeraVe.
Yeah, so the CeraVe is £9.50, which I don't think you can probably really get much cheaper than that for quite an effective cleanser. Bioderma is also available. That's kind of high street priced as well. I can't remember off the top of my head how much that is, but there's also varying sizes of that too. So if you want to sort of stock up on a big 1 litre. La Roche-Posay as well.
Oh, it's brilliant, yeah.
Is a a real high street go-to of mine. If you've got slightly oilier or more congested skin, the Effaclar range is great. If you've got sensitive skin, or you just like using something that's got no fragrance to it, Tolerian is a brilliant range for sensitivity. So they're probably my high street go-tos. Yeah.
Okay. What about eye makeup remover? So we have talked a little bit about micellar water as an eye makeup remover, but I think it's worth pointing out that an oil cleanser is quite a good makeup remover in itself. But are there any other methods for removing makeup that you...
Yeah, so I would always take a cleansing balm or an oil cleanser just gently over my eyes, because it just really helps to dissolve all the makeup. Again, we've just mentioned Bioderma really is a great makeup remover as well. I tend to find that a lot of people really like one from Neutrogena. I have incredibly sensitive eyes, so I have to be quite careful about what I put on my eyes, and I find that a lot of biphase, shakeable ones, I don't tend to get on very well with when you feel like you've got an oily film left on the eyes. That tends to make me really want to kind of itch my eyes a lot and makes my eyes quite watery. However, the one that I tend to get on the best with, I've been using it for years, there's a great Chanel one, which you can shake, and that's never irritated my eyes, but has got the kind of the power of having an oil in it.
I quite like Clarins as well. I find that's a brand that doesn't irritate me.
Yeah.
And they do a good eye makeup remover. But essentially, I think we have kind of moved on a little bit from eye makeup removers of the past, haven't we, to oil-based cleansers or oil-to-milk cleansers or balms and those sorts of things that will naturally sort of attract. Because what you don't want to be doing is sort of rubbing your eyes and or sort of doing anything too harsh.
I think as well, I think that I just try to kind of, I think everybody is doing more and more in their daily life, and time is always a bit of an issue, and we don't ever seem to kind of have time anymore. So I think that I just tend to reach for sort of solutions that do tend to be a bit of a two-in-one, or something that's just quick and effective for me to use, and also just cuts down on the amount of product that you're using as well.
The packaging and the the things we're throwing away. Okay, let's see, we've got a couple of minutes.
There are lots of questions.
Yeah, so many good questions. Oh, I can't get to all of them. After massaging my face with a cleansing oil, do I need to cleanse it off before bed? So the answer is yes.
Yes. If you generally, a cleansing oil will need to be removed after, because it will just be sat on your skin. So yeah, again, removing it with a muslin, a damp flannel, some disposable cotton rounds, they're all effective ways.
And
to
the
remove
water
cleansing
often with the oil is what emulsifies it to more of a liquid that then that comes off. So you're not sort of putting on just a basic oil that then is left an oily residue oftentimes.
Yeah, I mean, quite a lot of people would say, oh, well, why can't I just use, bog standard olive oil on my face? I mean, people do that. The thing that you've got to remember about using sort of oil and balm cleansers is that all of the oils have been specifically selected. They work very well with our skin's biology as well. And, a lot of oils have got different fattiness and sort of thickness to them. And you don't want to be putting anything that is too thick and heavy on your skin that can overpower it too much.
Yeah, and congest it and all the rest.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go for one more.
Oh, someone loves the Chanel.
Oh, yeah. We love Chanel. Oh, and some great suggestions here. Body Shop Chamomile Eye Makeup Remover is fantastic, somebody says. Great. Let's see what we've got here. I love the conversation about everyone recommending their own products. Do you recommend mud masks? Or I suppose a
clay-based mask. Yeah, clay-based masks can be really good on the right skins. I think also there are lots and lots of different clays.
Yeah.
So I think when people again think of mud or clay masks, they think of really, really thick, very drying clays, which we tend again not to really use very much anymore. Some clays are really, kaolin was always something really, really gentle to use in beauty school on somebody that had a very sensitive skin. Decléor will do a really, really lovely mask, clay and herb cleansing mask, and that's so gentle, never leaves your skin feeling dry. That's sort of white and green clay based. Yes, so I do for the right skin.
Yeah. Okay, and I think we probably will get into masks and creams and stuff into another session. And okay, so what about Paula's Choice? Have you used those products?
I've used bits and bobs. I think Paula's Choice products are great. I think Paula is, she's a powerhouse of knowledge. She's, and I think what I like about that brand is they're very explanatory, and there's a reason for why everything's in the product and what they're bringing out. So yeah, I like Paula's Choice.
Yeah, me too. Okay, I think that's it. So, God, we got through a lot.
I was worried that we weren't going to get through it all.
Yeah, it was great. I loved it. I learned so much as well. I always do when I do these things. So, so we're going to say goodbye to everyone. Thank you, Katharine, for joining me. And
thank you for having me.
Yeah,
and thank you to everybody that joined.
Yes, thank you for joining us.
I'll try and look at your questions after.
Yeah, we will do. We'll go through them together. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.